Welcome to International Yoga Community from Yogis Without Borders. My name is Diana Gladka. I'm yoga teacher, educator. Usually I'm based out of Dubai, but today we're sitting here in Kiev in this beautiful place with my dear friend Dmytro Danylov, who is also the founder of Yogis Without Borders, which is an international community of yoga teachers and practitioners spreading transformational ideas of yoga across the borders. And in addition to all, he has a PhD in yoga philosophy, has 2 books written, and the last one was called The Transformation of Term Dhyana, which is the meditation, in the teachings of yoga. So, Dmitry, you have lots of different backgrounds, so needless to say, we have a lot to talk about. We haven't seen each other for half a year, I believe. And, in the best tradition of the online world now, taking this opportunity of us being together in the kind of closed borders world in one city for one day, we decided to record this short kind of informal catch-up where we will be talking about the future. There's been a lot of changes, right? So specifically I would like to ask you some tricky questions about the future of yoga, because it's transforming, online like exponentially now. The future of travel, because of your background as, the world citizen as well, as a traveler, as explorer, etc. And your mission, your vision, that you've embedded in the full project of Yogis Without Borders, going forward. So, lots to catch up on. Let's get into it.
Yes, thank you, Diana, for such a nice introduction. I really love that what we're doing right now, and this conversation that we recorded, because we have lots of conversations, but not all of them are recorded.
Just to catch up, kind of, how are you doing as a warm-up? So, the first question is, how was your 2020? To make it more specific, what's your biggest insights as a yoga teacher and as a yoga practitioner always within the last year?
The last year was so different. It was really something, for everyone. It was, it came out of nowhere, and there were lots of different insights on how we can work as a team of Yogis Without Borders. It changed the way we perceive yoga, the way we teach yoga, the way we practice, the way we meditate. It's all now different. That is why I won't even predict, I won't even try to predict what the year 2021 will be. Because
who knows?
Yes, I'm hoping it will be just as fun as the last year. I mean, there are some, good news, bad news, but for yogis, I think it's the best year because it has changed. It has changed the way we understand yoga nowadays. We have gone online. I mean, there are no yoga teachers who haven't gone online during this year. I mean, maybe there are some, but nobody knows. Yes. So maybe, the people who were practicing something and they were not in connection with the social media and social people who are presented themselves in social media, all have gone online. And I think the best and the main insight is that we can teach yoga online. We can go and we can teach over video conference. And it's not just the physical exercises that we can teach in this way. Actually, and it was not obvious in the beginning, although we have, of course, had video conferences even before 2020, but we have found out and we have looked for the methods how we can explain these specific things about yoga, how we can
The energy even,
yes,
right?
How can you explain these things online? I mean, you can explain it online, but how you can show it, and actually we have found the ways, we have found the methods how to do this and how to explain and how to show things. So and I think for the history of yoga, I mean, for the last yeah, what I mean, at least 4,000 years we have never done that.
Well,
So
that's
yeah,
for sure.
so I think we're on the break of something new, something very interesting. I think this online thing and digitalizing yoga will make a next step, and we go VR and
VR.
yeah, 3D VR and things like that.
So our daughters will practice yoga with the perfect robotic yoga hologram of
I
it.
don't know. I don't know where it will go, but I think it's
Will
very
not need us. Come on. I'm
well.
kidding.
It depends. I think even now when we met, without the masks and without the online thing, and you're here, and I can hug you, and yeah, we can have a coffee and speak like this, like usual
In the old good
offline
world,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It feels different, of course. It will never change this thing.
Yeah, so that exactly what I was interested in, because obviously my students also miss that kind of vibe of being close to the other students, to the yoga instructor. So how do you think we can, in the coming year or two, until probably things will hopefully settle down, how we can keep that spirit of this life interaction and the teaching process, right? That's always the exchange, like real exchange happening. How we can maybe support our students there? Any ideas? Walks in the parks, catch-ups, one-on-one,
Yeah,
outdoor
I
yoga
haven't.
practice?
With my students, we have a meetups, although it's a distant meetups, and we meet also for conversation, coffee, somewhere in the cafes which have the street yeah. Like they're open, and it's nice to meet every now so and then. But I'm really interested in how it can be done digitally and online. So I'm not saying that we have to do yoga only online, but I think what we have taught and the things we see now, I mean, the things we understood in the year 2020 is that we can do it and we should do it. I think the world is talking to us, and yeah, everybody know how to start the video conference now. Although just 2 years ago, although it was already there, it wasn't so popular.
Exactly. I have a number of questions coming from there because we kind of shifted into the biggest topic probably of my interest, the future of yoga. So you seem to be on the very bright side of, the glass half full always, knowing your personality, in terms of the transformation, using the momentum, breaking through, which is why I love you really. However, there are a lot of sentiments that I hear among the international yoga community, and I actually have a lot of feedback from my friends and the yoga students who say, you know what, the pandemics will be probably over, but it's so convenient. I don't have to commute. Like, yoga entered my life, my home, my office, my phone. Like, I am now living and practicing wherever I am. So why would I go back, really? So there are a lot of, I say, some sort of fear of people, yoga teachers, who are afraid we will never go back into the yoga studios. So what's your take on this? Will we have like a split of 50-50 old school traditional hugging yogis, or and the ones who are like, okay, this is my house, this is my yoga studio, I don't need anything else as long as my teacher is online. So what's your take on that? What will be the split? And is it a good side, or is it a threat to yoga continuation if people just stay home and practice online?
No, I definitely don't think that it's a threat. I think it's an opportunity, of course. What some people don't realize is that we have changed over the last 20 years. And for example, I travel a lot. I have students in different countries. I have friends in different countries that invite me for certain master classes, and I invite my also the friends and the team members. Like we have a team member of Yogis Without Borders in Tbilisi, or in Germany, in Dortmund, or in Austria, in Innsbruck, and so on. And the world is very global nowadays, and we have. We cannot do many things just traveling and spending a lot of money, having classes in different countries at the same time. So this online thing is really the answer to this question that I had for the last 10 years at least. How can we manage this? Because I have students who study in my city, in my yoga studio, but then they develop very quickly and they want to go global. They have job opportunities somewhere around the world, and I speak to someone in the morning and he's in one country, then I have a class with him in the evening and he's in another country, and he cannot be in my yoga studio that same evening, but he doesn't want to miss the class, or he doesn't want to miss a certain lecture. And in this world, this global cosmological world, it's really the next step. We have to, I think, change, and we have to admit that the world has changed. I mean, I think some yoga teachers don't really want to look in that direction. They want to, stay homey and traditional, and that's fine. Right. But but I think we have to, as yogis, admit the new world that is we have made. Yeah.
We have made. I love this.
Yeah.
We made it. That's a beautiful answer. Well, the last question I have in that regard, which is kind of more philosophical, right? Yoga is the esoteric system, from notion that some part of it is hidden, is, not for all, is through the specific initiation and passed from a teacher to a student, etc. So in this whole open new world we're living right now, where everything, probably almost everything, gets public, right? With really like the yoga shalas in India streaming online, maybe even the cavemans are going online soon. Well, I'm kind of joking, but still that's true to a certain extent. We have all this research and data and the new texts translated from Sanskrit for the amount of information which is released every single day is just immense. My question is, to what extent you think yoga will maintain its status of esoteric system within the next, I would even say 50 years. I can't even predict the next 100 years. Like 50, we probably still might be alive, but are we seeing here like the real opening up, or you think something will still maintain that's kind of core essence of its esoteric nature despite this public opening up which is happening now?
Well, it's hard to say, but I can't see yoga without the esoteric part. I think it will be something else. Although, now we're making a video and this will go online to social media and so on, but we won't talk here about the certain things.
Mystical experiences, for example.
Mystical experience, or some, many things that we won't talk about. Something that is very, esoteric.
Intimate, personal.
It's not
sacral.
Just, yes. I'd say that esoteric part of yoga is the most important thing about the yoga, because otherwise it will, the 20th century was, the secular century where yoga just became a big fitness class, global fitness class. And everybody, I think, it's nice, we have yoga classes, we go, we breathe, we do asanas. That is, I also think this is the very important part of yoga, which really has made it popular nowadays, because when you think about yoga, when like so that even when somebody thinks of yoga who hasn't been in class, he thinks of some asanas, someone in the meditating pose, and so on. I love to think about yoga as an esoteric system. I think that most of my students do yoga because of that part. And actually, the reason why I'm interested in yoga, I love the history of yoga. I've been always into it, even when I knew very little about it, and I was trying to look for more and study books and
Just looking
reading.
at your new book.
Yes. Well, but that maybe is the reason why I've gone into have done the PhD on the history of this term, dhyana. That's nice. Yeah, the intellectual part is yoga. Yeah, there is philosophy in yoga. There is somatic practices. Yeah, the body practices. Yes, this is one very important part of yoga. There is psychological part of yoga. The chakras, the energy, how we can change our emotions, how we can look at things differently. That is very important. And but that is not enough. There are many very exquisite things that you can do with yourself, and I'm grateful that I have met my teacher, and I've had this experience to know that there is esoteric part to yoga. So I would say yoga consists of many parts. Esoteric part is very important, although all the other parts are also very important. So going back to your question, I don't think that will be lost in the online transformation in 2021 or in the 21st century. I think the opposite. It will develop because nowadays I don't have to lose connection with my student, or even when he left the country and doing something in another country and so on. So that's one of the ideas of the Yogis Without Borders. You can do yoga without, the borders don't really, nowadays, are not the walls who prevent yogis from practice.
You don't have to travel years to ask the question to a yoga teacher.
Yes.
And
Although
revelation,
that brings some,
romantic part of it.
Yeah, the romantic part of it, yes. So I think that one more thing is that I think that this esoteric connection will be maybe more. I mean, the personal esoteric connection when we can sit and talk or practice something without offline, that will become more valuable in yoga.
Beautiful. Gives me some goosebumps. We're on the right track. I have probably two more questions from this huge topic, but coming from what you just shared, right, about this kind of common notion of yoga related to bodily postures and, kind of asana practice. Like, I have kind of an emotional sentiment here, and I'm getting, into my catchy mood. I'll explain why. So, on the one hand, we have all of this educational part, research, conferences, all online, most of it free, just get whatever you want, right? And we have really a lot of great teachers who also / scholars, and they really kind of intellectual students, like highly educated, right? So that's kind of one part of the yoga community. Well, probably, that kind of top of this pyramid, if you will. There is always a hierarchy, right? On the other hand, we have a lot, maybe probably the majority of this association of yoga as just as an asana bodily practice, and really, like, frankly speaking, thousands and hundreds of thousands of yoga teachers who got the 200 certification online probably, and the students who follow them, because that's what they believe yoga is. So my question is to you and to me, who are esoterics, mystics, a part of the yoga tradition, have our yoga teacher. Are you and me doing a bad job articulating what yoga is and what yoga is not, or not only asana? Like, why in the 21st century, with all of this information available, we still have that limiting stereotype, which made it popular, yes. But like, what should we do to cross that line and, move past that?
Well, I think if I understood you correctly, there is a certain there are people who are searching for the esoteric knowledge. So if someone is looking for something that he doesn't understand what he's looking for, he will probably understand it at some point, and he will find the information he's looking for. So what we as yoga teachers can do is go online, make these videos, write texts, speak out as much as they can about what they do and what they think. Because different teachers, even from my tradition, they are different. The way they speak, the way they see certain things and practices in yoga also differ. And that's the best part about yoga. It's different from from teacher to teacher.
Tradition to tradition, school to school.
So if someone's looking for, and there were also always people who are looking for esoteric knowledge. I mean, it was in the West, it was in the East, and they usually find what they're looking for, or they make a new tradition. I don't really see a problem, that the esoteric part will die. It will never die. It was always there. It will always be there. And I see myself as a transmitter, passing on the certain things that I have taught, I have received from my teacher and or my teachers, and transmitting it to other people. So I think this. I don't really see that as a problem. That the esoteric part will die. They're all, and now in the 21st century, when we have so many problems, when we don't understand what the heck is going on, these questions if there are more questions than answers. And the mystical esoteric knowledge also always help in this problem.
So, to sum it up, one more time, to the international yoga community, we're on the right track. The future of yoga is bright. The esoterics will always prevail, and we're just here to celebrate this beautiful process. The last question, to sum up this topic about the future of yoga, which is we see you are very positive about and very transformational in a sense, which obviously I love, is there is a real trend now, like in wellness industry, people are really confused, as you just rightly pointed out. People who've never practiced yoga suddenly start turning to it in a search of some background, in a search of those answers, in a search of some sort of support, tradition, if you will, maybe subconsciously even, which will help them to develop themselves to meet all of those new challenges. And people just really start turning to this new thing for them. So what would be your top recommendations to someone who've never practiced yoga before and is turning his search now into how to begin? So how he or she can choose his yoga teacher and his yoga school. What's the criteria you think is important to look at when choosing your yoga teacher, your yoga school, starting your path? Because obviously the choice kind of is abundant nowadays.
Well, that's a good question.
I think it's a tough one also.
Yeah. Well, the best part about esoterics is hidden knowledge. Yeah, and
here we go. So where to start?
Like we're talking about it now, but we don't really say what it is, and that's make that this is the problem of esoteric knowledge. On the other hand, yeah, as for recommendation for those people who are seeking, looking, searching, I would say you have to just keep on doing that. That's the first thing. The
Trying different things.
yeah, try different things, travel. I mean, even in my student years, I wasn't studying yoga at that moment, but I was already looking for something. I didn't know what I'm looking for, and I was doing lots of traveling. I met great people, very unusual people, in the monasteries. I've been to many places. In the somewhere on the beaches, on the in the winter, and I would like, or in one time I was traveling in Ljubljana, and I met a guy who just came from Greece, and he was explaining to me about the Isihasm, and he met there some monks, and I have a Greek background.
All right. Mr. Danylidis, please meet and greet.
Yeah, so my family is pretty much the Ukrainian Greeks, and a lot of things about the mystical part of Christianity I learned from. I mean, it wasn't like a fundamental knowledge, but it was some knowledge that made me interested. I understood what is going on there. I understood what kind of people are there, where to look for them, and actually I went there afterwards. So.
Talk to people,
yeah,
explore
talk to
people. Your
ask
entrance
people.
to traditions
Yes,
is through people,
yes,
in a way.
always. Only, yeah. Sometimes books, but with esoterics, it's also not very, not many books explain things that you would look for. And another thing, two more things. I would say that you have to be yourself and trust yourself.
What
you have to trust yourself. You have to feel you want to go leftwards or rightwards.
Like
you
how
have to
it
speak to
feels
this person
after this particular class, or talking to this teacher, or practicing.
or maybe you want to speak to some person sitting next on the next table, near you when you drink coffee, or you want to where do you want to go this year or next month? Yeah, where do you want to travel? You have to really trust yourself and look for new things. And one more thing, when you go to a class, you have to trust yourself. I mean, when you meet someone who you really were looking for, you are interested. Something turns inside of you. It's a certain feeling.
Catch.
Yeah, it's a catch. It's it's the first mystical experience actually. So this is the good start.